In this video, I will explain the extended essay, also known as the EE, that you can research for in English B, by answering 4 questions so you can decide if an EE in English B is something you want to take on. So let's dive into each question. As a starting point, if you're considering taking on an EE in English B, look at the topic areas and themes that you're exploring in your English B course and decide on one which has interested you and you'd like to find out more about it. In the theme Identities, you may want to explore further how language is used in a particular context, such as in the topic Beliefs. For this, you could explore religious texts from sermons of popular preachers. In the topic Beauty and Health, you could research on how a collection of adverts from a single campaign has raised awareness of an issue in a society like young women's self-esteem or the stigma associated with masculinity for teenage boys. It is vital that you choose a topic that you are keen to investigate, as well as being able to formulate your own research question that can be answered meaningfully within 4,000 words. Once you have identified an area of interest, you will have a starting point for the development of your research question. In the theme Human Ingenuity, you may have become more aware of the effect of technology on social interaction. So, you would be interested in writing an EE on the theme of how technology and social media impacts our lives. This, however, is too broad, and so it will need to be narrowed down to produce a workable research question with a clear focus that can be successfully answered within 4,000 words. A useful technique is to start to apply limiting factors to the broad topic that you have selected. If you ask the question, what part of life does it have an impact on, the original title can now be redefined as the theme of how technology and social media impacts the English language. However, this is still too broad a basis for a research question, as there are too many effects technology and social media could have on the English language. Therefore, we need to ask further questions. So let's ask the question, is there a specific effect you are trying to assert or measure? You can now refine the research question to this: to what extent have information technology and social media corrupted or contributed to the English language? Once you have a workable research question, it's time to locate relevant sources to support research into your chosen topic. To do this, you must first look at which category in Language B your EE will be based on, as there's a minimum expectation when it comes to primary and secondary sourcing. So let's look at the 3 categories: language, culture and society, and literature. The first category is language. This should be an analysis of some aspects of the English language. You could choose topics such as the influence of technology on English vocabulary, the use of accents and dialects, or national language policies of English-speaking countries. The research question we looked at earlier would fit into this category. To what extent have information technology and social media corrupted or contributed to the English language? As we're looking at the cultural context of how it may be changing the English language, your primary sources would be from interviews, newspapers, and websites, whereas your secondary sources could come from journals and articles. The second category is culture and society. This is divided into 2 sections: The first being researching the impact of a cultural change on a language. It should be a particular issue on the form or use of the language. For example, you could explore topics associated with gender, social groups, or communities. So, you could use a research question based on how the English language is reflecting the shift in gender roles in the workplace. Another topic could refer to language and a social group, such as the rise in the use of teen English slang. The second section of Category 2 is based on artifacts, which is more general in its cultural nature. However, it needs to be specific to a country or community where the language is spoken. So when using topics like bilingualism or language acquisition, this would be too broad. Therefore, it needs to be based on specific cultural artifacts. For example, you could research about the representation of the fast food industry in advertisements in British media, or expressing femininity in songs from a particular group or artist. To research these topics, you need to use cultural artifacts. These artifacts can be written documents such as newspapers, magazines, articles, adverts, spoken documents such as interviews, song lyrics, screenplays, visual documents such as works of fine art, architecture, and cultural icons such as fashion items, food dishes, or brands. The third category is literature, which is based on a specific work or works of literature. This text must have been written in the English language. You could, for example, research on how an autobiography has inspired the reader to overcome challenges in life, a character analysis that assists in the understanding of novels by the same author, or research on female protagonists in a selection of American novels. So, as you have seen, there's a wide range of scope to choose from. Suppose you choose to do an EE in English B. In that case, it's vital that you are keen in taking on a research project. You have sufficient proficiency in English to carry out the research, and the topic that you choose fits one of the categories: language, culture and society, or literature. If you tick all the boxes, you now need to make an appointment to see your EE coordinator or supervisor, who will provide more guidance on how to move forward with your research project.